There is a specific pitch to the silence that falls when a six-figure car interrupts a high school reunion. It's a mix of awe, envy, and pure, unadulterated curiosity. I heard that silence as I eased my Ferrari to a stop, the engine purring like a contented predator. I let the moment hang in the air, watching through the tinted windshield as the crowd on the steps turned into a frozen tableau. And there they were. Jessica, Brittany, and Chloe. The A-list. The queens of Northwood High. They were huddled together, just as they had been a decade ago, their dresses a little too tight, their laughter a little too loud, trying desperately to recapture a glory that had long since faded. I was Sophie, 28, a self-made tech entrepreneur. The girl they used to call Sophie the Scarecrow because of my lanky frame and thrift store clothes. I had sacrificed my late teens and early 20s to relentless work, pouring every ounce of my energy into building my app, my company, my escape. This moment was a decade in the making. The driver's door opened. I emerged, one stiletto heel at a time. I was wearing a simple, devastatingly elegant black dress that cost more than Jessica's first car. I smoothed the fabric, took off my sunglasses, and met the stunned gaze of the entire reunion committee. Jessica's face was a masterpiece of cognitive dissonance. Her brain was trying to reconcile the image of the awkward, hunched-over girl she tormented with the confident woman stepping out of a supercar. Her smile melted into a confused gape. I didn't smirk. I didn't strut. I simply offered a small, polite, and utterly calm smile. I handed my keys to the valet, a kid who looked like he'd been handed the Holy Grail, and said, "Thank you." My voice was steady, carrying in the quiet. Then I walked towards the entrance, the crowd parting for me like the Red Sea. I didn't look back at Jessica. I didn't need to. My arrival was the announcement. The calm dignity I showed was a shock to their system far greater than any dramatic scene I could have made. The betrayal in high school wasn't a single event, it was a daily, grinding campaign of psychological warfare. Jessica was the ringleader, a master of social manipulation. Brittany was her loud, cruel parrot, and Chloe was the quiet follower who laughed along to stay in the group. It started with the nicknames. Sophie the Scarecrow. They'd make straw-stuffing motions when I walked by. They'd accidentally bump my lunch tray, sending my food flying across the cafeteria. They started rumors that I lived in a condemned house, that my clothes smelled, that I had a contagious disease. Their accomplice was the entire social hierarchy of Northwood High. Everyone was so terrified of becoming their next target that they either joined in or looked the other way. My teachers saw it but wrote it off as girl drama. My few friends were slowly picked off, warned that association with me was social suicide. The inciting incident, the one that truly broke me, was prom. I'd saved for months to buy a dress. It was secondhand, but I thought it was beautiful. I even got asked by a nice, shy boy from my chemistry class. We arrived, and for one glorious hour, I felt normal. Then Jessica took the stage. She was prom queen, of course. As part of her royal duties, she was allowed to dedicate a song. She leaned into the microphone, a sickly sweet smile on her face. "This one goes out to Sophie," she cooed. "The spotlight found me, blinding me. We know how hard you worked to be here tonight. It must have taken a lot of scrounging." The crowd tittered. "So this song is for you. It's called Boulevard of Broken Dreams." Green Day's melancholic guitar riff started, and the entire gymnasium erupted in cruel laughter. My date shuffled away, mortified. I stood there, frozen in the spotlight, the scarecrow on display. I ran out of the gym, the sound of their laughter chasing me all the way home. That night, I promised myself it would not be the defining moment of my life. The discovery wasn't of a hidden truth about them, it was the discovery of my own potential. The summer after graduation, I channeled all my pain into a plan. I was accepted into a state school on scholarships and majored in computer science. I was still the quiet, observant girl. But now, I was observing market gaps and user interfaces. I saw how social media made people feel insecure and left out. So, I started building an app. Not another social network, but an antisocial network. A mindfulness and goal-tracking app called Zenith, designed to help people block out the noise and focus on their own growth. I lived in a tiny apartment with 3 roommates. I survived on ramen and free coffee refills. While my peers were partying, I was coding. While they were posting curated photos of their lives, I was building a platform that questioned the very need for that curation. The stake was my future. My dignity. The very real chance that I would fail and prove Jessica right, that I was destined to be a nobody. I kept a secret Pinterest board, a digital vision board. It was filled with pictures of Ferraris, penthouse apartments, and powerful women CEOs. It wasn't about the materialism, it was about the symbolism. Every time I felt like giving up, I looked at that board. That Ferrari wasn't a car, it was a suit of armor. It was my Boulevard of Broken Dreams redemption anthem. The reunion invitation came in the mail a year in advance. It was a cheap, glossy card. I almost threw it away. But then I saw the committee list. Head of Decorations, Jessica Miller. I didn't RSVP. Not yes, not no. I let the silence be my answer. Instead, I made a single, quiet phone call to my financial advisor. Michael, I said. I'm ready. Let's lease the car we talked about. For 1 year, starting next month. The car was the envelope moment. It was a bold, unmissable statement that shifted the power dynamic without Jessica or anyone else even knowing it was happening. While they were planning cheap centerpieces and a terrible DJ, I was securing the ultimate prop for my entrance. I was setting the stage for my own play, and they were all unwitting actors. The confrontation happened inside, near the pathetic punch bowl. Jessica, bolstered by liquid courage, approached me, her posse in tow. Sophie, she said, her voice dripping with fake sweetness. My God. What a dramatic entrance. Leased for the weekend, was it? I took a sip of my drink, completely unfazed. Leased for the year, actually. It's a tax write-off for the business. Brittany snorted. Business? What, you sell leggings online or something? I smiled. No. I founded Zenith. Perhaps you've heard of it? The mindfulness app. Chloe, the quiet one, actually pulled out her phone. Her eyes widened. Oh my God, she whispered. It has, like, 5 million downloads. Jessica's face fell. The anger started. So what? You got lucky. You're still the same pathetic. Am I? I interrupted, my voice still calm. You spent 4 years trying to make me feel small. You dedicated a song to my misery. And look at you now. You're still here, in this town, trying to relive the one moment in your life you peaked. I spent those same years building an empire. The scarecrow built a skyscraper. The manipulation started. We were kids, Sophie. It was just jokes. You need to learn to take a joke. Funny, I said. I don't recall laughing. I looked at Chloe. You were always the smart one, Chloe. You know what real success looks like. You don't have to stand in anyone's shadow. Then, the begging. Not for forgiveness, but for relevance. Jessica's voice became a desperate whine. You think you're better than us? You think your stupid car and your app make you better? No, I said, finally letting a hint of steel into my voice. I knew I was better than you the day you needed to tear someone else down to feel tall. The car and the app just make it obvious to everyone else. The realization dawned on her then, the horrifying understanding that she had not only lost, but that she had never been in the race. Her power was an illusion, confined to these hallways. Mine was global. Her downfall was the irreversible collapse of her entire worldview. The fallout was immediate and social. People I hadn't spoken to in a decade came up to me, not to suck up, but to genuinely congratulate me. The narrative had flipped entirely. My old lab partner, Mark, found me. "I always knew you'd do something amazing, Sophie," he said. "I'm sorry I never stood up to them back then." "It's okay," I said. "It taught me a valuable lesson. The only approval you need is your own." Jessica tried to rally her troops, but the group was broken. Chloe spent most of the night talking to me about possible career opportunities, effectively defecting. Brittany just looked lost and sad. Jessica tried to justify her life, her job as a receptionist, her boyfriend who sold used cars, but every word just sounded more hollow and exposed her bitterness further. There was no financial collapse for Jessica. Hers was worse, a collapse of significance. She was dethroned, in the very kingdom where she had once reigned. The photos from the reunion that surfaced online weren't of the A-list. They were of me, by my car, surrounded by people who were genuinely happy for my success. She became a ghost at her own party, a faded relic of a past that no one was interested in anymore. The mean girl was finally, irrevocably, made irrelevant. That I didn't stay long. I had made my point. I left the reunion after an hour, the sound of genuine well-wishes following me out. The Ferrari wasn't just a symbol of wealth, it was a symbol of my freedom. The ability to arrive and leave on my own terms. I drove away from Northwood High for the last time, not with anger, but with a profound sense of closure. I had built a beautiful life, and for one night, I had used its spoils to lay a ghost to rest. The weapon they used, social status and humiliation, became the yardstick by which their own emptiness was measured. They say living well is the best revenge. I disagree. The best revenge is living so well that when you finally confront your ghosts, they can't even recognize the person you've become. And you get to drive away, leaving them in the dust of a life they could never comprehend. Thanks for watching. If you ever faced bullies in school, how did you get through it? Let me know in the comments. And if you believe in epic glow-ups, make sure to subscribe for more.